My name is Jacob McGee, 607815.
Okay, you are a second offender. Indecent behavior with a juvenile, attempted possession of a firearm, carrying and a concealed weapon by a person convicted of certain felony. You were sentenced on the indecent behavior with a juvenile February 4th, 2013, revoked on July 22nd of 2022. Probation reinstated on August 10th, 16, revoked again January 29th for attempted possession of a firearm. You were sentenced to 7 years hard labor and 7 years and 6 months hard labor with a parole date of June 13, 2020, a good time of December 15, 2022, and a full term of January 29, 2026. At this time, Mr. Alvin Roche, and myself, Mr. Tony Marabella, and my name is Jim Wise, and I'll be chairing today. At this time, you would, Mr. Roche will be asking you some questions.
Good morning, Mr. McGee. How are you?
Doing well, and yourself?
Thank you. I'm well, and thank you for asking. Mr. McGee, you're 28 years young. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And you've served 22 months of a 78-month sentence. Is that correct?
I've served more than 22 months on a total. I've done five and a half years off of the 7.
According to your master record, your full-term date is 1/29/26. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, for the gun charge. Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So let's get back to proceedings. You're 28 years young and you've had 2 felony convictions.
Yes, sir.
And you were given an opportunity by the judge in 2013 and 2014. He suspended and gave you probation. And you just didn't do what you were supposed to do. Am I correct?
That is correct, sir.
Does this sound familiar? On February 4th, 2013, you were placed on probation. On September 9th, only 7 months later, your probation revocation hearing based upon violations including traveling out of state without permission, failure to obtain employment, positive tests multiple times for marijuana, failure to pay fines and fees. At that time, you were sent to a 90-day program. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And the offender returned on supervision. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And then on July 22nd, 2014, you were back for a second revocation hearing. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that includes felony arrest for possession of Schedule 2, failure to pay supervision fees, leaving the jurisdiction without the court's permission, and a whole bunch of other things. You were revoked and a 7-year sentence was placed back on you, right?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
2019, you were brought back to court for revocation, for felony conviction of possession of a firearm. That's about right?
Yes, sir.
So tell me why I should vote to release you today with that kind of record.
Sir, for a long time, I've tried to outsmart my addiction. I've tried to outsmart the system. I wanted to do what I wanted to do and failed over and over again. I'm exhausted of coming to jail. I'm exhausted of losing everything, and because of that, I chose to come to this the Steve Hoyle program, and during this incarceration, do everything I can to change my way of thinking, to become stable-minded. And
Mr. McGee, wouldn't it have been better if you would have just listened to your parents when they tried to tell you it was wrong? You shouldn't do that. Didn't they tell you?
Yes, sir, they did.
The words?
Yes, sir, they did. It seemed like
they tried to best to direct you in the right direction.
Yes, sir. It seemed like everybody was trying to tell me not to go down that path, but I did it anyway, thinking that I don't know what I was thinking.
So you went down that path last year. It was 2019. So what difference has 12 months made?
Sir, a lot of difference. To be honest, I've thought so much about the people that I surround myself with. Number one, I've learned in the treatment that if the people that I surround myself with don't have the same goals, the same ideas that I do, if they don't value sobriety and following the law, then I'm going to end up doing what they do eventually. I know that I need to stay on track, because one drug use will make me do something stupid, like walk into a house with guns and get a gun charge. I mean, I do this to myself, you know. Okay. It's not.
Mr. McGee, what is your completion date for the Steve Hall program?
My completion date was July 10th, 2020.
So you've completed the program?
Yes, sir.
Tell me about the other programs that you've completed.
Prior to coming to Steve Hoyle, I was in Celebrate Recovery at Catahoula. Before I had the opportunity to complete it, the camp was shut down and became an ICE camp. I have also done
Sir, listen to my question. What other programs have you completed?
Okay. I've completed all 4 phases of the sex offender risk program, risk management model. I also facilitated classes for other inmates. I completed accepting responsibility, which came along with 2 parts of quitting methamphetamines and quitting marijuana as part of the class. Those are the other programs I've completed.
Mr. Barnes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do you have the certificates from the Louisiana Risk Management Program for sex offense?
He may not have them presently, but we definitely can get them.
Okay. And he has completed all 4 phases?
Okay. He completed it with us, yes, sir. So physically, we don't have them right here in front of me, but he completed the program with us in 2015 to 2016.
Okay, great. So no, I don't need the paperwork. If you say he completed, that's fine with me. So tell me what you're doing at Bossier Medium now.
Currently, I teach the GED program over here. I just recently I've been waiting on this parole hearing. I asked.
How long have you been tutoring the GED program?
For 12 months, sir. I have a certificate for that as well.
Okay. So So we know that you have a very bad supervision record. We know that law enforcement is opposition. We have an extensive criminal history. We have a moderate Tiger score, which tells us that you have a moderate chance of reoffending. So, and also that the victim and the victim's family is unopposed to your early release. Can you add anything else that you've done since you've been incarcerated?
I was a trustee for the duration at the reentry program. I was the laundryman for 7 months. I was just recently replaced by staff members because they assumed that I was going to be moving on to better things, as they say.
Okay. Mr. Barnes, do you have anything else to add?
No, sir, that we set out that treatment plan for him, and did you also participate in the STAR, the METhed program? Yes. So he also participated in the STAR while he was with us during the C4 program. But we set the treatment plan out, he followed all the recommendations, and he's finished everything that we've asked him to do.
Thank you, Mr. McGee. Mr. Wise, that completes my interview.
For Mr. Marabella. Your mic.
All right, yeah. Mr. McGee, my name is Tony Marabella. I've got a couple of questions for you. How far did you go in school?
I completed high school, sir.
You graduated high school or did you get a GED?
No, I graduated high school.
And tell me a little bit about your drug use. How long you been using drugs?
Sir, I started using drugs or marijuana and alcohol in high school, and shortly after high school, right after I was released when I was released on bond for my sex offense, I started using cocaine and methamphetamines, and I dabbled in other things throughout the years, prescription pills and a little bit of heroin, but the methamphetamines is the one that consumed my life. It started off when I was younger as something I did for fun, and it became something that it seemed like it had power over me, it had complete control over me. And when I used it, I would be out of my mind and I would do things that led me to come to jail. For a while, especially after 2016, my 2014 to 2016 incarceration, I came home and I thought that I would be able to outsmart my drug use. I thought I could use on weekends or holidays or use smart, and it failed miserably. And that was the cause of me coming to jail in that time frame, was trying to think that I could use, and it's impossible for me.
All right. Let me ask you some questions. Now, you bonded out on the sex charge.
Yes, sir.
And that's when you started using the heavy drugs, after you bonded out on the sex charge?
Yes, sir.
You were placed on probation, is that right? You pled guilty, I assume?
Yes, sir. And
You were given a suspended sentence?
yes, sir.
Part of that sentence, I assume, was sex abuse and substance abuse, or not?
I was required to do just the sex offender treatment on the street.
You didn't do any substance abuse at that time?
I believe I completed a substance abuse while I was going to court, and that was, if I remember correctly, that was in lieu of that.
A substance abuse evaluation, or did you actually go into treatment?
I did a treatment program while I was out on, while I was on bond.
What kind of treatment program was it?
It was a end day 30,
Inpatient, 28-day treatment?
yes, sir.
When was that?
In 2012.
Obviously didn't help you.
No, sir. I didn't. I was just there.
Let me ask you something. How did you get into the Steve Hoyle program? How did you
I-
find yourself in that program?
I wrote a letter to come here. See, I had been at the beginning of this stint. I was at Catahoula, and I was in the Celebrate Recovery program, and they shut the facility down and turned it into an ICE camp. And while I was sitting there waiting, I wrote Steve Hoyle because I heard that they would accept anybody, and you know, that it was the best program in the state.
Tell me what you learned in the program.
I learned a lot about myself. I learned that sometimes I don't think things all the way through, and I learned that every situation I have to think of all the possible consequences that go along with what I'm about to do. Also, in judging the character of people I associate with. In the past, I had a habit of associating with people that they may drink or they may do this, and I would tell myself, oh, that's not that bad. But the more I've spent time around that person, it leads to trouble if they're not going in the same direction that I am.
Where are you going to be living if you get out?
I will be living with a friend of mine, mother. His mother was going to take me in, and she lives in Baker, which is right outside East Baton Rouge.
So you'll be living in Louisiana.
Yes, sir.
Tremendous culture of drinking.
Yes,
Everybody drinks. It's social. How are you going to not be able to do that?
Well, that I intend on joining a support group, Alcoholics Anonymous. There's a relapse prevention cycle that I learned about in the Steve Hoyle program, where if I have a support system and I continue these steps on a regular basis, I can catch myself before I end up actually going to the point of drinking. And one of those things is staying away from people who drink.
What's your experience with AA?
When I was younger, I was required to go in the rooms, but much like the rehabs that I was required to go to then, I was just there. I think that it's now I see the benefit of having people who have gone through similar things that I may go through. If I run into a turbulence, when I come home, having someone who has 10 or 20 years sobriety who's been through what I've been through can directly help me. I can call them instead of going out and actually following through with the relapse cycle.
You think AA meetings are important?
Yes, sir.
Are you a drug addict?
Yes,
How long will you be a drug addict?
for the rest of my life.
Let me ask you one other question. Why a gun?
Sir?
Why a gun? You were charged with and pled guilty to felon in possession of a firearm. Why did you have a gun?
This is going to sound really silly, but I was at home high on methamphetamines. My neighbor called me and asked me to go walk over to his house, feed his dog, and lock up the doors. While I was over there, I got paranoid and I thought people were trying to get me. So I ran outside, and on the way outside, I grabbed his gun and I called the cops to come save me. And I stood there in his driveway with the gun, thinking that the people were in the house trying to get me. The cops arrived and I had a gun in my hand. And I called them on myself. I'm an idiot.
What kind of work will you do if you get out?
Well, I have a job offer with Bowen Communication Services right now. It's a field a network technician. I'll be installing intercom systems and networks and servers for various companies via remote contract. It'll be subcontracted.
That's all the questions I have.
Okay, thank you, Tony. At this time, his grandmother, Ms. Pamela Taylor, would like to speak. Ms. Taylor, anything you'd like to say to the board? Unmute your mic, ma'am. Unmute your mic.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay,
Yes,
good
ma'am.
morning. I'm Pam Taylor, Jacob's grandmother. I've seen my grandson Jacob. I see him now as a grown man with the love and support of all his family. He's become a better person. He's done a lot of work on himself. And as a retired special education teacher, I am so very proud of him. He's become the lead tutor in the program at Bossier and has helped countless inmates in preparing for and passing the GED, and many others in developing their math skills. Jacob is extremely intelligent, and I think helping others has made a huge impact on his life and his self-worth. Also in there, and he didn't mention this, but he has been reading and studying to get certification, technology certifications, Cisco networking, and his dad has been assisting him on that. I believe now this time will be different, where once Jacob thought a normal life after incarceration was beyond his grasp, he now sees a future himself. I hope this board today will give Jacob the chance to change his life. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Also today speaking will be Miss Jennifer Taylor. She's a victim today, would like to speak.
Hello, I'm
Okay,
Jennifer
unmute your
Taylor.
mic. Okay, Miss Taylor.
Mr. Wise is breaking up right now. Would Ms. Jennifer Taylor, the victim in support, please unmute your mic.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you.
Okay. My name is Jennifer Taylor, and we were involved in the sex crime case with Jacob over 10 years ago. We feel that Jacob has served his time and is reformed, and with our case, we feel like he's done everything above and beyond, and he deserves the chance to have a normal life. Our family believes that if we can forgive and love and support Jacob, that then the court has no reason to deny his parole. I mean, we fully believe that Jacob he's on his way to a better life.
Okay, thank you very much. Also, Ms. Tracy Barbera with the East Baton Rouge ADA would like to speak.
Good morning. Our concerns are, I think what any assistant district attorney would raise at this point, it's just a bad combination, sex offender, gun, DWI arrest. He received the benefit of a very significant plea bargain. He was originally arrested for aggravated rape and then given the reduction to allow him to have the privilege. And I do believe probation is a privilege, particularly in cases of this nature. And then he violated. There were 3 DWI arrests. We also reduced a felony grade DWI to a misdemeanor. So, and I'm concerned he is classified with a moderate risk. Also concerned for his safety. Hallucinating through the use of narcotics is very dangerous. And quite frankly, I think Mr. McGee is lucky to still be alive based upon the degree of alcohol and drugs he's acknowledged consuming. So I certainly respect Jennifer's statements as the victim in this matter and do not mean to disagree with her. It's just we are extremely concerned about his drug and alcohol addiction and just wanted to voice those this morning. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. At this time, the board will be voting, no other questions, and we're gonna start with Mr. Alvin Roche.
Mr. McGee, I have some of the same concerns as the district attorney's office. Your supervision record when you were given opportunity was very bad. But you've done all the things you were asked to do. You've completed your sex offender treatment. You've completed the Steve Hall program. You serve as the lead tutor in the GED program, and you've completed some other programs. I'm going to do a happy medium. I'm going to grant your request today for early release. But I'm going to put in a transition period where you will have a 9-month transitional work program.
Mr. Roche.
Yes.
Roche.
Yes,
Now,
Mr.
on his-
Lawrence.
we'll have to check on his we'll have to check on his transitional work program because of his.
Because of the moderate risk assessment. There's a moderate risk assessment. Sometimes they,
Yes.
and he, oh, that's okay. He's a sex offender also.
That's what I was saying.
They will not accept you. I'd like to give you a transition period where you can work and earn some money, but they will not accept you because you're a sex offender, and probably will not accept you because you have a moderate risk assessment score. So that leaves me two choices, either to grant you or to deny you. Ms. McGee, you've completed the sex offender treatment. You've completed the Steve Hall program. You've served your fellow inmates being a tutor in the GED program. Mr. Barnes has given you positive remarks. The victim is unopposed. So my vote is to grant your request. Please take this opportunity better than you took the opportunity of the judge's probation.
Yes, sir.
And follow all the rules and regulations. There will be many rules and regulations because you have to register as a sex offender, and you have a alcohol and drug problem. So there'll be many obstacles for you. I wish you luck.
Thank you.
Be granted after release. You'll have a curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. You'll have to attend NAAA meetings at least 3 times a week. You are to follow all recommendations of the Steve Hall program, and you are to do community service with disadvantaged youth at least 16 hours a quarter. That is my decision.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Marabella.
Mr. McGee, I'm going to be real honest with you. I've been on the fence ever since I read your report. I've listened to what Ms. Barbera had to say. I agree with her concerns. I've listened to the victim in this case. You've still got some problems and some serious problems. You have gone through the Steve Hall program, which I know from experience to be a significant program. You've done your sex offender program. I'm going to take a chance with you, just like Mr. Roche has suggested. We would like to see you have a transition program, but apparently, because of the charges, we're unable to do that. I am going to vote to grant your parole with the same conditions. Mr. Roche, with your permission, I would request that we also have him do a mental health evaluation and follow any treatment that's recommended. Apparently, he had some significant issues with the drugs and the hallucinations, and I would suggest that as an addition to your conditions. With that, that would be my vote.
I have added that condition.
Also, I've listened to your case. I went over your case for a long time, like I said, and I listened to Ms. Ballbear. I listened. Hey, you know, on February 4th, 2013, you were charged with disciplinary behavior with a juvenile. You were revoked June 22nd, 2014. Then your probation got reinstated on August 10th, 2016. Again, you revoked in January 29, 2019. And then that attempted possession of a firearm. I'm going to tell you, I think you've got some issues there you need to be working on real strong while you're there. Today, I'm voting to deny your request. Thank you. That concludes the hearing.
So frankly, I'm super confused about this case. I gotta tell you. Thank you, Richard, for pointing it out. I when they were going over everything he had done and all the times he was revoked and everything he had gone wrong, and you throw in the juvenile, and then you go through the hearing and you're like, oh my God, he's having a perfect interview. It seemed perfect. It seemed like he was honest. It seemed like he actually put in the work. He had all the answers that Maribella needed. He applied to go to Steve Hoyle himself. He wasn't sent there. I don't know if we've seen that. The victim is unopposed, but then you have Tracy, who is my favorite assistant DA. She comes there and she throws down the lines that make me, man, she's just good. And I mean, then it makes me change my mind and be like, okay, he should get locked up, but stay locked up. But at the same time, it's like, you know, I don't have any information. We don't know, have anything on the juvenile. When we get that information, we know how young she was or wasn't and what the details are. It sways my opinions. It's so interesting to have what I believe was the victim's mother and father come in and say, like, it's okay for him to get out. And you do wonder, like, what actually happens. But man, I mean, I thought it was so funny. He went to his neighbor's house to feed it, and then he was tweaking, and he called the cops on himself. It's the strangest thing with that Schedule 2 meth. I mean, it just seems like people are always paranoid that people are out to get them. He actually grabs a weapon and calls the cops. They got there like, oh God. And he's like, I'm just dumb. And yeah, you are pretty dumb. I mean, that's like Florida man stuff right there. But he's still locked up. His full term date is 2026. And this hearing took place in 2020. So I would not be surprised if we would see him up for parole very soon. Yeah, this was the end of 2020. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him soon. It's you tell me. I just don't like Jim Wise. Did you see him vaping there at the end? He was vaping. He said to the grandmother, there's two women there. He said, "Unmute your mic, man. Unmute your mic, man." I mean, come on. And it's just his connection or his speaker is always bad every single hearing, and it's like, in my opinion, he just has complete disrespect for the system. Like, it doesn't take that to get the proper whatever it is that's causing his internet disruption. The idea that he went through this for like over a year without putting in any effort to fix the problem, it bothers me. It's literally every hearing. I can't pick out a hearing that he hasn't. But he denied. I mean, you tell me. If you took out it's like, you know, I've been manipulated several times by roaches. I don't feel like, I feel like he is caught, like it is his, I don't know. I'm like, I am confused about this one. Again, without having the facts on the molestation charge. If I had the facts, I would, and they were bad, I would just say stay locked up. But all right, with that, I'll let you go.